The search is on for the black box. This breaking news on the crash of EgyptAir Flight 804. Right this minute, they are trolling the waters. Here's the map, as you can see. Look, while there were no American citizens on board, U.S. intelligence officials are desperately trying to help in any way they can, in part by sharing threat data held by the National Counterterrorism Center with the French and Egyptian investigators. So, at this moment, a counter-terror source is telling Fox News that posts on social media from known terrorist accounts and sympathizers are being scanned right and left. Ambassador James Woolsey is the former director of the CIA. He joins us now on whether he suspects that this is an act of terror. Does it look like that to you?
It definitely does. I think it's going to show up that way. It may be 10 to 1. A 10 to 1 vote, bet could be wrong, but I think it's likely. And we have a problem that's bigger than just whether or not we have enough TSA people at the airports and sharing intelligence. Those go without saying. We need to do those right. Okay. But there is a large company, foreign company, this has been looked at by Lisa Benson in Phoenix quite a bit in the last couple of years, that has fired a dozen plus American corporations that are supplying maintenance workers and the like to aircraft hangars and so on, and started hiring people in many circumstances who are very recent immigrants from the disaster zone of the Eastern Mediterranean. Mm-hmm. And without the right kind of vetting, and it's really hard to do that vetting because this part of the world is one where passports are forged and bought and sold quite readily. They could end up with a situation in which you have, and it's happened a couple of times already in Minneapolis and one other city, where you have someone who is on jihad privately,
and they get a
working
job.
in a hangar.
Okay, but
working in a hangar,
okay,
and
so
he could put a bomb inside a plane.
Ambassador, if this turns out to be terrorism, what does that say about the security of Paris's airport? We know that when that Russian jet back in October went down with more than 200 people on it, turned out to have been a bomb, and it was leaving Sharm el-Sheikh in Cairo. Well, we figured that security wouldn't be great there, or as good as maybe the European airports. But now what? What are American travelers to think of what happens here, depending on whether it turns out to be terrorism?
It's kind of uncomfortable, but I think what you have to do is put yourself in the shoes of the terrorists and think, how would I most likely be able to kill a large number of people? And one very likely way would be to have the maintenance workers in the large facilities. They're not watched closely, and if one has a bomb that's the size of a large Coke bottle and puts it in the right place inside the aircraft, it could go off when triggered, or by the altitude, or by any means. And it's very hard to find something like that. We're not talking a big bomb. We're talking a very small one, but placed in exactly the right space to take an aircraft down. It can't happen.
Soft targets, hard targets. You know, coming up next month, we have the Euro 2016 soccer event. That's huge. It's second only to the World Cup. You know, a lot of people will be flying to that locale, and we know what happened with the Paris attacks. We know what's happened with Brussels. What is the best plan for security officials in all of these countries in dealing with potential threats?
There's nothing to replace really careful and thorough vetting and cooperation between the various countries that are involved. And that's why this is so hard. As I said, it's really hard to vet people from that part of the world, especially if they've just come over fleeing the wars and civil wars there. So I think it's going to be a dicey thing keeping enough security done right in order to keep those games in France going, and then shortly after that, the Olympics, we have a different kind of problem, the Zika virus. It's not a great year for travel, for sports events, I don't think.
Well, it's very upsetting. Listen, thank you very much. Ambassador James Woolsey, formerly the head of the CIA. We appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Good to be with you, Liz.